Welcome back to Getting Real, where we explore what it really takes to build not just a seven-figure business or portfolio, but a seven-figure life, one with more ease, time freedom, and well-being. For 20 weeks, I'm sharing the most powerful conversations from our recent seven-figure lifestyle summit, featuring women who are running 7 to 9 figure businesses and creating lives that feel spacious, aligned, and deeply nourishing. If you're an entrepreneur who's tired of doing everything yourself, feeling stretched thin, or wishing you could just clone yourself so that your business could finally breathe, today's episode is for you. I'm thrilled to share this interview with Brandi Cox, who's a tech system strategist, architect, and a disabled combat veteran with over 35 years of experience. Brandi helps overwhelmed entrepreneurs build smart systems and supportive teams so they can scale with clarity and calm instead of chaos. During this interview, you're going to see what it really means to delegate, automate, and design your business around your energy instead of your exhaustion, especially if you are neurodivergent, sensitive, or simply done with the hustle. You do not want to miss this episode. Enjoy this powerful conversation with Brandi Cox. Welcome back to the Seven-Figure Lifestyle Summit, where we are redefining wealth to include not just financial abundance, but time, freedom, and well-being too. If you've ever wished you could clone yourself or just stop working 60-plus-hour weeks to keep your business going, today's session is going to be a game changer for you. You need to pay attention. I'm so excited to introduce Brandi Cox, a tech systems strategist, architect, and disabled combat veteran with over 35 years of experience. She is the co-founder of Quest for Clients and WebBricks, where she helps overwhelmed entrepreneurs create smart systems and supportive teams so they can scale with Sanity. Brandi is known for her no-fluff approach, a touch of geeky brilliance, and her trauma-aware, neurodivergent, friendly perspective that truly meets people where they are. Brandi, I am so excited to have you here.
I'm excited to be here.
You have a very rich and unique background, from combat veteran, that's a female combat veteran, to system strategist. Tell us a bit about your journey and what led you to do the work you're doing now to help entrepreneurs scale without burnout.
I've actually been doing computers since the 80s. I started programming computers in the early 80s and then started making websites in the early 90s. And then it's something that I've loved doing. It's been a ton of fun. And part of it is I have a little bit of ADHD. So I have the autism and ADHD combined. And so there's a little bit of fascination, and my brain thinks like a computer. So I'm like, oh, it's so much easier. And I tell people all the time, I'm like, I'm much better with computers than with people because I understand computers a lot better than people. And I worked really hard. I was in the Bosnian War, actually, and ran coax cable through minefields, making sure the computers and the internet worked. And then over the years, we realized that there was a lot more damage than we had originally thought. And then when my body finally basically decided that it was like, okay, you're not listening, so we're just going to turn the body off. And so my body just started going, nope, we don't need a heart. We don't need this. We don't need that. We're just going to turn everything off. And basically the doctor said, if I'm not going to stop being stressed, then I'm going to die. So I had to get rid of the stress, get rid of the high corporate job and everything else, and find something else. And when I first filed for disability, I was like, all of my value was tied up in my career and in what I could be doing for people and being useful. And so it actually made me so depressed that it was almost the end. And so I was like, I've got to find a way out of this, dark hole. So I was like, okay, if I help somebody every day, then I can feel like I'm being useful again. So I started helping people with their businesses and looking at what they were doing and what they were trying to do and go, there's an easier way to do this. And people are like, I don't like tech. And I'm like, you don't have to. I'm like, but I love tech. And I'm like, why don't I build it for you and then hand it to you and then it's done? And that's what I started doing originally. And then over time, that's morphed to now I just do the tech for them all the time. And me and my team, we just do it all. And that way they don't ever have to touch their tech, not even like when they're up and running, which makes them feel a lot better. But I love it. And I just love making people's lives easier. And so I'm like, hey, if this is one way that I can give back while I can't work a traditional job, I was like, hey, I love this stuff. So let's do it.
There's so much in that story that I think a lot of women, especially high achieving women, will resonate with. First of all, your body shutting down and being like the canary in the coal mine, but just like the one that says, nope, I'm done. Like this job is literally going to kill you. I had that when I was working as a lawyer, a corporate litigator, and I kept having these, it wasn't quite all the systems shutting down, but I had a ruptured appendix, I had shingles, I had like, and it was a lot of get out or you will die.
Yeah.
And then I think a lot of women can resonate with that. And then what does it mean? Then what do you do next? And tapping into what I hear from your story is tapping into the gifts. You're unique. Like you're always thought. I have a daughter too on the spectrum, and she's always been super techie as a toddler. She would show me things on. She was like been our in-house tech IT support. Like she was like 30, and but like tapping into your unique gifts, but also asking the question. So how can I just help others? How can I help others? And doing that, you had said that you wanted to talk about, and you have a signature talk called Clone Yourself. And I think that's something that every entrepreneur has wished for at some point. What does that actually mean in practical terms? And where should someone start if they're feeling overwhelmed?
And excuse me, everybody sits here and wishes like, oh, I wish I could just clone myself. I have so much to do and not enough time to do it. And so one of the first things I do is I sit down with them and I'm like, okay, let's look at everything you're doing. And then we start to realize how much busy work there is, how much stuff there is actually moving the needle forward in their business, which is surprisingly not much. And that's where the busy work comes from. And so it's okay, they're so busy doing this other stuff. Society says, oh, I got to be on social media. I have to go live every single day. And society says, these are the rules. And I'm like, first off, who says? But also, if that's not your vibe, then don't do it. There's other ways to get these things done. And there's so many different ways we can go, whether it's just not doing it anymore, or whether it's delegating it to outsourcing it, or whether it's having the system automated. And for me, I'm sitting there going, I look at these business owners and they're so stressed out. And I'm just like, okay, what do you wish for? Imagine me like a genie in a lamp. What do you wish for? And they're like, I just wish that when somebody books a call, they would get a reminder and they would ask them to confirm and everything else. And I'm like, done. Okay, what's next? And they're like, wait, what? And I'm like, no, I already know how to do that part. So that's fine. I literally can just click a couple of buttons and make that happen. And they're like, no, wait, really? That takes me hours every day. And I'm like, that's the busy work. And it's because people don't know what they don't know. They don't know what systems can do. They don't know that their wishes could come true. So when I'm sitting down with somebody and they're telling me what they wish, I'm like, oh yeah, I can do that. Or I'll be like, okay, that's going to need a human. Like that actually needs a human being. So, okay, but I've got the staffing agency that we can get somebody hired to just take that off your plate. And then when you start taking stuff off their plate, and they literally have all of this free time to actually sit and focus on their business and finally moving the needle forward, they have this massive growth. And I'm just like, okay, that's the part that I love. And then they come back and they're like, oh my gosh, Brandi, oh, I couldn't have done it without you. And I'm like, oh, thank you. It was all you, but thanks. You know? And I used to say all the time, I used to tell people, I'm like, dude, I'll just bring me Coca-Cola or something. I'm like, bring me snacks. I'm like the developer. You just feed me snacks and I'll just keep working. And like, I love it. I love this stuff.
Yeah, that's I can see like you just light up, and I think that's one of the signs of that seven-figure lifestyle, just like loving what you do, right?
Very much.
And like some of the entrepreneurs you've worked with, I think many women here in the summit are high achieving but feeling really overextended. What are a few signs that it's time to shift out of doing it all mode and
Yeah.
move into a more strategic delegation or automation?
So if you're not out there getting clients every day, whether it's speaking or lead generation of whatever kind, and you're not delivering to clients, those are pretty much the only two things you should be doing. Basically, staying focused on those revenue generating activities.
Yeah.
And if you're not focused on that and you're doing like other stuff, oh, I'm trying to get the landing page to talk to the calendar, to talk to the emails and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like the minute that you're starting to feel like that tech overwhelm of, oh my gosh, this isn't working. And, that just the minute a client says to you, hey, that link didn't work, or like the calendar didn't go through, or I didn't get a reminder, or whatever, you start to judge yourself.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm like, no, it's not about judging yourself. I am not an expert in anything but this. And if somebody was to come to me and say, hey, could you operate and take out somebody's appendix? No, I can firmly say no, I cannot do that. But if you're like, hey, can you operate on the brain of my business? Yes, that is what I do. And I'm like, ooh, I can make the brain of your business, which is your tech, which is the engine that runs everything. I'm like, yes, that is me. And so like a lot of the friends that I have in our circles, they're all like, oh yeah, she's just like the business brain surgeon. She's gonna operate on the website and the tech and everything else, and it's just gonna work. And I'm just like, yes, that's what I do.
I love
I
that.
love it.
It's so great. What are some common myths or mistakes people make when they're trying to scale, especially when they think, I just need to hire someone or buy a new tool?
Yeah. That's the number one thing I think that most people do is they start to feel that stress, that they start to feel that overwhelm. They're starting to realize, oh, it takes me too long to get these things done. I need a system. And they go out there and Google or AI or whatever, and they go, hey, come up with a system or tell me what to buy or tell me who to hire. And they'll end up picking somebody on Fiverr or Upwork or heck, even LinkedIn, and they just randomly go and pick somebody. And the problem is they don't know what they actually need. And so they just think, oh, I just need help with this. And then what really is the problem is their entire process is disjointed. And so that's why I sit down with everybody and I go, okay, what are you trying to do? And let's figure out the right process. And that tells us what the right software or person or whatever is going to be. And the hard part is that everybody just goes to AI or Google. And I'm like, but AI and Google are not intelligent in a way of, hey, somebody needs to do an analysis. Somebody needs to actually think about it and go, oh, I see the problem here. I see the gap. And it requires a human touch. And I think the Band-Aid is going to AI and Googling for a solution. And that's the biggest myth, is that's not, it's just going to Band-Aid it and make it worse later on.
Yeah.
And then somebody like me is going to have to come and fix it anyway.
Yeah, if you're trying to fix the wrong problem, then
Always.
that does not help. So you brought up AI, and I'm curious in terms of what AI tools are you like helping people integrate
Oh,
different
yeah.
AI tools right now? What
Oh,
are
yeah.
some of the things that you're finding that are most moving the needle for people?
So I think that people are seeing the news and seeing articles and everything else talking about how great AI is and how it can replace staff and it can do things for you. And I think that there's a misunderstanding there that it's not actually smart. It goes and finds what's out there already and just parrots it back to you. And so while it is getting better, obviously, you have to know so much more in order to use it. So what I do is I go, okay, let's look at what you actually need. And like, for example, if somebody comes to me and they say, you know what, I'm talking all the time, I need slides, I need presentations, I'm a speaker. Okay, great. I know exactly what AI to tell you. There's this amazing one. We're going to put your copy in there, and then it's going to spit out awesome slides. And then you can tweak them to your heart's content. And you can present right from it. And I'm like, that's glorious. It's gorgeous work. But if somebody came to me and says, okay, I need to create a speech from scratch and no human input from yourself, I'm like, you're just going to get a bunch of boring stuff back. It's all going to just be like blah. And I'm like, you've got to add yourself. You've got to add personality. And so I work with my clients and make sure that when we're using AI, that we are feeding it what it needs to be able to do the work, that we're asking it the right questions. I have certain prompts. I have one little cheat that I do every single time that I do my prompt. And I type everything out, and it's heck, even sometimes I just copy and paste it because I've been typing it for a couple of days. At the very bottom, the last line is, I actually have this like keystroked, and it says, please ask me one clarifying question at a time to gather all the information you need in order to complete the request. And it's pre-written in all my stuff. And I just type /ask, and it goes and it expands it out, because I'm like, okay, if I forget to say something to it and it needs more information and I don't give it and I don't have that question, it just comes back with boring blah. And I'm like, but if I say, ask me a question at a time, do you need this information? Because I don't even know what it needs to know. So I'm like, ask me the questions and I'll answer you. And so then it's more of a conversation. And then it can take that information and go, oh, yeah, oh, that's what you meant by that. And so then it really tweaks it. So I do that stuff all the time. I love AI, but I'm like, I don't depend on it. Use it. It's a tool.
That's great. Your work is trauma aware and built with neurodivergent or introverted leaders in mind.
Yeah.
How does that shape the systems you build, and why is that kind of approach so needed right now?
I think that one, people are very tech overwhelmed, tech burnout. And I think that we've had a lot of stuff thrown at us over the last few decades that is just overwhelming for everybody. But but also the neurodivergent, like squirrel, getting distracted by every little thing. I make sure that, okay, we're going to make the system, and I call it lieutenant proof, because ex-military, you make things lieutenant proof, not dummy proof, but we make things lieutenant proof. And I'm like, okay, what is your skill level for tech? What is your tolerance level for tech? And then let's work around that. I've got clients that are like, I don't even want to log in. I just want to be able to do it all from my email, and I want it to magically work. And I'm like, okay, got it. Like I've got an emergency speaker funnel that I sell to speakers, and it is something that I made it so that they don't even have to log in. The system will do all the work by itself. And then at the end of the speaking gig, when they do like their free call or whatever else, the system will schedule it for the person, send all the reminders, and then about an hour after the call is supposed to have started, there'll be an email that goes out to the speaker and says, hey, did that person show up to that call? And they press a button in their email. They click the link in their email. It takes them to a web page and it goes, this is what you clicked. And it triggers the automation. Because then if they didn't show up to their call, then you're going to want to reschedule them. So then we can get them into a rescheduling sequence or whatever else. But the person who buys from me doesn't have to know how it works. Right. They don't have to know anything. It's very much, if it's too overwhelming for you, I'm going to make it so you just have to click a button. And so I work a lot with neurodivergent people. I work a lot with people that are not tech savvy. And so it's, okay, if I can make it work with you instead of against you, and it makes it feel a lot more within your ability, you're going to use it. Because otherwise you're going to not use it, and then you're going to stop paying me. So I have to make it work. I got to make it work, because otherwise you stop paying me. But yeah, so my thing was always like, been neurodivergent my whole life. I know how to work with those people. All of our brains work differently. And so it's really a matter of just sitting down with each person and figuring that out.
I think even if people aren't neurodivergent,
Yeah.
there's just so much in the world that is distracting,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And that like the simpler we can make things and the more
Right.
automated, the better, because that there's a million and one things that we could do. And even if you aren't bad at tech, but having to manually do things all the time, it makes no sense. So I love what you're doing. It's so important that we just simplify and we those things that we can like we can automate that don't need to be done. We're not wasting our time. We're not running like a hamster in a wheel. Like that is not about the lifestyle. Because this summit is about building a seven-figure lifestyle, not just income, but ease, joy, and time freedom. What does that look like to you? And how do systems help make it real?
For me, so part of the disability is I get like debilitating constant migraines. And so when I get a migraine, I it is like a 7 to 10 day. I'm in bed for half of it. I have probably about 4 to 6 pain-free days a month. I'm in pain constantly. And so there's only so much time I can sit with the big ring lights and all the lights on, right? And then there's times in which I'm like, I have to hide in my hole because it's too much. And when you hit the maximum of your meds and everything else, you just can't take anymore. And so it's like you have to slow down and stop. And the best part is that I made my business run with systems and staff and everything so that if I have a migraine, don't have an interview, then I can actually go to bed. I can go and rest and recover. I can go and get a massage, help loosen up the tension in my neck and everything. Like I can go do things that I need to get done for myself and for my body. And I don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, is the business going to be okay? Oh, I have to do something today. I can just rest. I've been sick with, I don't know, the crud or whatever it is for a week, and I've just been able to like rest and recover, and my business runs. And so that's what I love about this is that you can literally just live your life and know that your business is running and you're making money and the engine is still going without you. And if it wasn't for that, more people right now, a lot of people are burning out because they don't have that. Because they're like, everybody in society is, oh, it's hustle culture, hustle culture. Get out there, do it.
No, not them.
Grind. And even Alex Hormozy, as much as I love him, Alex Hormozy is out there going, oh yeah, you just got to get up and do it. And I'm like, yeah, that's one way. But there are other ways, and there are ways to use your systems for you and not against you. So to help where you're weak, because that's one of the first things that we're going to talk about is, okay, what are the areas you're weak in? Because that's where you need the most support.
Yeah.
Because if you're like, oh no, I got this. Okay, that's one way. But tell me where you're weak, because that's where you're going to need the most support. And that's really where you're going to get the most bang for your buck, is because that's the part that you're going to struggle at. And a lot of people, it's tech, and it takes somebody else 5 hours to do something that takes me 10 minutes. I'm like, oh, I can just click. And somebody else is going to be like fighting and YouTubing and Googling. And I say all the time, if you needed brain surgery, would you go on YouTube and learn brain surgery? No. You'd go to the expert, maybe even the top in the world. Really? Are you sure? Then stop operating on the brain of your business, because you don't know and you're going slower and it's taking up all of that valuable time because you're an expert at what you do. If you are out there healing people or helping people start their businesses or doing something else, that's what you're the expert in, not tech. You're not supposed to be the expert in everything. And people, I guess another myth is that people are always like, oh no, I have to learn it myself. One day I have to learn to do this. And I'm like, but why?
Yeah.
Tell me one famous rich billionaire that does their own everything. I'm like, they all have people, they all have staff, they all have team, they have systems and software and processes. None of them are out there doing it. And like, you're not supposed to be out there doing it. So I think that's the part of changing that hustle culture and realizing that there are ways that you can make your life a lot smoother. And that seven figure lifestyle, it doesn't have to, you don't have to wait until you're like, oh, one day when I'm rich. No, you can start making those steps, and that's how you get there, is
Amen.
by taking those steps now.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. If someone is watching and feels stuck in chaos or burnout, what's one small shift they can make this week to start creating more calm and scalability in their businesses?
So the first thing I do with each person, and this is something everybody can do, I can't always write it out because sometimes I just have to yell it, but I'll turn on the recorder, Zoom, Otter, whatever you got. I'll turn on the recorder and I'll just say, okay, this is everything I have to get done. This is all the things. And then I let it transcribe it. And then I go, okay, what do I actually have to do? Let's start categorizing these things. What can be done later? What has a deadline? And I start like looking at everything that is on that list of 500 things, right? We all have a list. And it's okay. Can I ask somebody else to do this? Okay, like cleaning the kitchen. Can I ask the teenager to do that? Yes, I can. They might grumble, they might groan, but they'll do it. Mowing the lawn. Can I ask my husband to do that? Are there things that have to get done? Yes. Do you have to be the one to do them? No. Is there stuff that you can put off? Yes. And is there stuff that like you really want to get done, but it's not like really critical today? Yes. So it's okay. Start categorizing everything, because that's the first thing I'm going to do when I sit down with you anyway, is let's go through your to-do list. Let's look at a typical day and where your time is going. And so we do a time analysis. We do to-do list analysis. We sit down and we're like, okay, what is actually burning you out? What are you busy doing? What stresses you out that you don't like doing and you're stuck doing? And that's part of where burnout comes from, is you don't even like some of that stuff. And so it's okay. What are the parts you like? What do you not like? Because there's sometimes that you might like something, but there's parts of it you don't like. But for the most part, you like that thing. And I'm like, okay, what parts don't you like? And let's see what we can do. But there's so many ways that just looking at your list and your schedule and going, okay, there are ways we can make this more efficient. And so everybody picks like a word of the year. My word for this whole year has all been efficiency, and making things more efficient and helping people get more done with less spoons. Because I'm all about the spoonie, the whole trauma aware and all that stuff. I'm a spoonie. And so have you heard of the spoon theory?
Tell me about that.
Okay. So the spoon theory is okay, everybody wakes up with 10 spoons of energy. And so like you hop out of bed and take a shower and grab a bite to eat and you're on your way to work. For some people, that's one spoon. But for some people, that's 5, 6 spoons, because it's so much energy. And when you're in burnout mode, you're using more spoons to get things done. And it may not be as easy as going to a movie. That may take too many spoons if you're in overwhelm. Whereas if you're feeling great, not even barely a half of a spoon.
Yeah.
Just, oh yeah, it's easy. It's fun. I love to go out to the movies. Yay. But then sometimes you're just like, dude, I can't even think about peopling right now. And so it's like really measuring your energy levels and working with your energy levels and that ebb and flow and being aware of that. So that's like the first thing that we do. And sometimes I get on with a client and they're like, I know we're supposed to talk about tech stuff today, but I really need to tell you this other thing. And I'm like, okay, so it seems like part therapy, part tech. But it's okay. What's wearing you out? And let's see what we can do to make that more efficient.
Yeah.
Because there's other parts of their business that are wearing them out. Like they're like, I had somebody come to me and they're like, I meet with every one of my clients privately. And that's great. And I love it. But I'm so worn out by the end of the week and I feel like I got nothing done. And I'm like, okay, why don't we look at how to take care of them a different way? Is there things that we can do to take care of your clients a different way? Things that we can do that's more automated, giving them a virtual check-in, like a text message check-in versus an hour for each person. I'm like, there's little things we can do. Maybe carving it back to a half hour per person, but we're going to add this other thing. I'm like, it's really just dependent on what the person's energy is and what they want to do and how they're what they're doing and how they're helping people, but just finding those ways to find those little efficiencies that are going to help them not feel so much burnout.
Really great.
I love this.
You have two really special gifts for our audience. One is for everyone, and one is for the VIPs. So, can you tell us about those gifts?
Sure. So yeah, so the first one is a call, and it is going from duct tape to done for you. And that's going from all those 20 different systems that don't talk to each other, and you're just stuck in that trying to figure it out all the time, trying to get it all to work. And I sit down and I look at that and say, okay, this is not the most efficient way, and I help you figure out what's going to work better for you. And that's all based on your own, like we talked about, your own tolerance, your own energies, your own levels, and stuff like that. So that one, everybody really loves that one because everybody can feel that whole duct tape.
Yeah.
Duct tape. They're like, oh, my systems are all duct taped together. So everybody loves that one. For the VIPs, I have a little more intense strategy call, and that is, I call it the dopamine by design strategy call. And what that is, we look at, because usually there's so many ways that the day drains you of energy. But by inserting dopamine into your day, you can replenish some of that energy, some of those spoons. And so if we sat down and we figured out how to rejuvenate you during the day, and we intentionally design your day, your routine, whatever it is, with inserting dopamine and replenishment. And it doesn't all have to be like manis and petties and Calgon baths. There's lots of different ways that you can replenish that energy. And that's one of the ones where it's a little more strategy. It's a little more, okay, let's figure out what I can do to replenish the energy. Yeah.
Amazing. Those are so great. So definitely take advantage of those. If you have not upgraded yet to VIP, you will definitely want to do that. You don't want to miss out on receiving that juicy, super valuable call. Brandi, thank you so much for your wisdom, for your practical magic. You really remind us that scaling doesn't have to be suffering. And in fact, it can help relieve your suffering if you have the right systems in place. And the right systems really seem like an act of self-care. It's not just about strategy. Yeah. So if you're watching and you're ready to stop doing everything, especially the wrong things that aren't really moving the needle, and you want to start building a business that supports your life, not the other way around, I hope today's session gave you that permission and a few starting steps. Brandi, it's been such a joy to have you. Thank you again for being part of the summit. This was great.
I loved it. I can't wait. So hopefully we'll see each other again in the next summit.
Yes. And we have a VIP speaker event September 4th. So we'll get together with the speakers, with the other VIPs. That is priceless. That is priceless. So don't miss it.
All right. Great. See you there.
Thank you for joining us for this conversation with Brandi Cox. I hope it gave you full permission to release the hustle, stop doing everything on your own, and begin building the systems and support that create real freedom, the kind that lets your business run without running you into the ground. This episode is part of our 20-week 7-Figure Lifestyle Summit series, where I've been sharing the best interviews from the 7-Figure Lifestyle Summit. Conversations with these extraordinary women like Brandi, who are growing 7, 8, and 9-figure empires while living lives that feel joyful, spacious, and aligned. If you want access to all of these interviews, plus over $4,000 in VIP gifts, like the one Brandi offered today, you're going to get trainings and resources, one-on-one conversations with these incredible women. It's still available. You can upgrade to VIP for just $99 at www.tinyurl.com/VIP 7-figure. Thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing a life where success includes ease, joy, and time freedom. I'm Monique Hom, and I'll see you on the next episode of Getting Real. Bye-bye.